Mike and Tom are registered with Steward Partners Global Advisory LLC.
Common Sense Finance with Mike Wigginton and Tom Farrell of H.L. Wigginton Capital Management, an independent investment and financial planning firm in downtown Jasper. Mike is a chartered financial analyst charter holder, and Tom is a certified financial planner professional. They are here to discuss and give their thoughts on current financial and economic matters. Now, with Common Sense Finance, here are Mike and Tom.
Hello everybody, welcome back to another edition of Common Sense Finance. This is Tom Farrell, I'm Mike Wigginton, and today we're going to address a topic that has come before us quite a bit recently. You're going to see why, and it's on the U.S. Treasury I bond, and that's for the I is for Series I bond. Some of you probably heard of the Series EE bonds, and so there's reasons that, and by the way, this is not to be an advocate for or against these particular vehicles. That's not what we're here for, but just to provide an educational piece. So we'll get compliance at ease with that. But just to talk about some of the natures, and then we'll provide you with the information if you want to look this up for yourself and pursue this, or you can call us or email us, and we're happy to help you that way as well. But So if you believe that if you're a textbook believer that the U.S. government's free of credit default, then these would be a risk-free, from the terms of a credit risk-free form of investment, so to speak. And let's get into it and talk about the pros and the cons and why people are so interested in it.
Yeah, well, these things are issued directly from the government. You can't buy them on the secondary market. There's two issues a year, so you've got a fixed component and a inflationary component. It is there's penalties for getting out after the first year. You can't get out in the first year, but after the first year through the fifth year, there's some penalties. I think it's 3 months worth of interest. But it's really what I think people find attractive about it, especially right now, getting people kind of talking about this, is the rate that is offered right now on the issue through April. So
no question, that's what's got everybody's attention.
Did I mention the rate? It's 7.
Were you going to mention?
Yeah, I was going to. 7.12.
Did I cut you off?
No,
Okay.
that worked good.
I'll get you next time.
So if you buy this before April, your rate from May through November would be 7.12%. That's the annualized rate. You wouldn't get 7.12%. You'd actually get half of that. So the way this works, there's a formula, and every May and November they're going to recalculate it based on the CPIU, and that would give you your rate for the next 6 months. So
Yes.
Right now there's a fixed component to this, and there's also the inflationary component. And Mike, what's the fixed component right now?
Well, the fixed component right now is 0.
Okay.
And it has been, per the Treasury's website, 0 since 2020, which is that catch I was speaking of. Because if you've got a 0 fixed component, and again, that fixed component is what it is for the life of the bond. Now, after April, the new issues may have a different fixed component. I'm just saying the fixed component's been 0 since 2020. And if you've bought these things, if you bought them now or bought them since then, what you're left with then is truly just an adjustable rate bond. It's going to adjust every 6 months based on the inflation component.
Right.
And if you buy them now, it'll never, as I understand, and it's pretty straightforward, you'll never have a fixed component if you're buying them now, or if you bought them, 6 months ago.
Right. So that part's not going to adjust.
I don't see people understanding that. You're correct. That part's not going to adjust.
Right.
Thus the name fixed. Okay. But I don't know that anybody understands that. They just see the 7.12 and they're off to the races.
Yeah. And what would concern me going forward is, there's a lot of talk about inflation now, and people may think, well, this is a great way to protect against that. Well, 3 or 4 years down the road, you very well could have a long period of time where you reset at 0%. That's not a very good rate of return, by the way. Yeah. So that's something you have to consider, because this is a 30-year maturity bond, so you kind of have to weigh that out when you're...
Sure, and I mean, as you pointed out, you could get out after 5 years with no sorts of penalties or whatever. I'm not sure if we covered this or not, but they cap you out at $10,000 investment per Social Security number per year. So if you had a household of 4, then you could put 40,000 in. I don't know if there's if you had a minor in your household, If you can buy that in custodial form, I guess you could for that Social Security number. So I'm guessing you could, but you need to follow up on that. So so there are caps on it, but it's always, as they say, the devil's in the details, and that's something
Right.
you better understand, going in.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is, I think a lot of people are looking at this maybe for one vehicle to put money aside for education down the road, things like that. So those are just a few of the ins and outs of these that you might want to investigate a little deeper.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Anything else?
That's it.
All right, we'll leave it there. We'll see you next time.
Hot thing, barely 21. Hot thing, looking for big fun. Hot thing, what's your fantasy? Hot thing, do you wanna play with me?